Good evening and welcome to the Board of Zoning Appeals for Monday, June 16th, 2025. The first item on our agenda is the determination of a quorum. If the secretary will please take the roll.
Mr. Crowley?
Present.
Mr. Hanlon?
Here.
Mr. Tucker?
Present.
Mr. Cooper?
Present.
Mr. Powell?
Here.
Ms. Horner? Here. Ms. Narduzzi?
Here, we have a quorum. The next item is public participation. If there's anyone here that wishes to speak with regard to something that is not on the agenda tonight, we open up the floor to that. I believe just our applicant is present this evening. The next item is the minutes from our June 2nd meeting. Those were provided to everyone and reviewed.
Actually, they weren't. I forgot to put, they weren't ready by the time the draft hadn't been prepared.
I just assumed our secretary handled it. So.
No, so we'll have to look at those at the next meeting.
Okay, so we'll postpone that for the next time. So the item, I don't have that. The next item is our agenda, is our only case this evening. It's case BZ 25-009. Our applicant is Elliott Sign Company on behalf of Wadsworth Motor Cars at 754 Broad Street. Can we have a staff report, please, Jeff?
Wadsworth Motor Cars is working with Elliott Sign to reface and update their freestanding sign. Business is located at 754 Broad Street in a C3 zoning district. Right now, in your staff report, you've got some pictures of the existing sign, and right now, the current sign's about a 19 and a half, or well, about 19 and 3/4 feet in height. It's got a 35-foot header panel and a 20 square foot changeable copy board that's done manually. So the two faces in total 55 square feet. They would like to upgrade that sign to one that you see in your picture. It would be 1 square foot larger. Overall, it would be 8 foot by 7. 24 square feet of that would be kind of the reader board for Wadsworth Motor Cars. And then the 32 square foot panel would be a changeable copy board, but it would be an electronic message center panel. We got a few variances that are required here because of the way the code's written. Number one, section 154-475, paragraph D1 states that changeable copy boards can't exceed 40% of the total sign area. So obviously, we have a case where the changeable copy portion of this sign is 57% of the total area. Under the conditional zoning requirements, and that's found in 154-546, paragraph B38, while the EMC boards are conditionally permitted in C3 districts, the lots on which they're to be located have to have 200 feet of frontage on an arterial street and a land area of 40,000 square feet. And furthermore, these signs need to be located 15 feet behind the front property line, which is the standard setback for most signs. Well, this lot only has 95.3 feet of lot frontage. Total lot area is 20,550 square feet, so it's just about half of what's required. And the applicant would like to reuse the existing pole sign, so it would be right near or at the front property line. And again, the final variance would be 154-486, Table D, notes that 50 square feet is the maximum size of a freestanding sign, but as I mentioned earlier, the existing sign is 55 square feet, and they're proposing 56 square feet. So the applicant notes that the variances are needed to allow the sign to be modernized, and again, the electronic changeable copy boards are certainly much easier to change and maintain than the old manual message boards. Even though the lot doesn't meet the code requirements, the new sign I think would be more attractive than the manual board. We've all experienced locations where signs and letters fall off or poorly spaced. And they note that further, the additional 1 square foot is not going to have a negative impact to the vicinity. Again, they would just be placing this sign, the new sign, on the pole. It's going to be where it has existed for years. So the only thing I would add to this is I just want to remind the board that when the current sign code was updated back in 2008, that's when provisions for the electronic message center signage was added. But at that time, the EMC technology was fairly new. The only example locally that we had of such a sign was the billboard out on Barber Road and I-76 in Norton. So our regulations were kind of written with that example in mind. This is not what we want. So we had large lot area, large frontage requirements. The other thing too would be, again, we also made them conditionally permitted. So someone couldn't just install them. They would still have to go to Planning Commission for approval. But I think in the intervening years, the EMC technology has changed quite a bit. Those signs have become much smaller and more affordable, therefore more businesses take advantage of them. But as is often the case, zoning regulations don't keep pace with changes in technology. So I think that what's being proposed, the EMC signs do provide a better visually attractive alternative to the old manual copy boards. They can be changed instantaneously. You don't have letters falling off. And I think as long as the messages are not animated and they remain static for a certain period of time, which our code requires, I think they'd be fine. And I did notice a typo. They need to be stationary 15 seconds, not 5. Forgot the 1. So with respect to the sign setback and display area requirements, if this were a new site development, yeah, the site would probably have been sized much larger. At 20,500 square feet, this site doesn't even meet the minimum requirements in a C3 district. So a lot of those lots on Broad Street out on the east end predated the zoning code. So a lot of them don't meet frontage requirements or area requirements. And again, when you look at both signs on the one page in your handout showing what they're proposing versus what exists, really no different. So I guess I don't see any unreasonable development concerns that would be created should the board grant these variances. And in fact, I think sign code requirements for EMC are going to be added to our list of future zoning items for review. Because again, these are coming up quite frequently, and the technology is such that they can be made fairly small, between 32 and 40 square feet. And I think that the code should kind of reflect that. In fact, many cases, I've seen some of these signs where the reader board is actually part of the EMC, the changeable copy. So when there's no message being displayed, the corporate logo is on that sign. And then it can be removed or made smaller while messages are being displayed. So that's kind of what we've got here before you. I would suggest that any motion to grant these variances would be made subject to the Planning Commission's issuance of a conditional zoning certificate. So if the variances are granted, they will be before Planning Commission next Monday for the conditional zoning review. That's all I have.
Okay, great. Any questions for Jeff?
Jeff, from a safety visibility, wouldn't this be an improvement since the bottom of the new sign is 3 feet higher than the existing?
I think just in general, you know, when you look at that old sign versus this, I think it's all an improvement.
Yeah.
And as long as, again, as long as we have those static displays for every 15 seconds, and I think that's one of the code provisions that may change in the future too. I think industry standards, International Sign Association has kind of recommended that about 8 seconds, and I think the DOT agrees with that. But yes, you're getting more clearance, so, you know, you get a clearer line of sight at street level.
Anything else? Okay. This has gone before the other agencies, police and fire, so as Jeff stated, there is no comment regarding police and fire for impaired visual distances. So at this time, I will ask the applicant to come forward and state your name and address for the record. Give us any additional details that you'd like the board to consider, please. And we'll declare the public hearing open at this time. Thanks.
So, hi, Debbie with Ellett Sign Company. And basically, we're proposing for 1 square foot. We're 55 square feet right now. We'd like to combine the top cabinet as well as the bottom cabinet into one clean cabinet and change out the changeable LEDs or the changeable copy section, which is on the bottom section, making it easier to maintain from a business ownership standpoint, make it safer for them instead of having to go by the roadside with a wand to change out those letters. They literally can do it in the office electronically, and it would definitely make an improved image, you know, not only to the business owner's property, but also to the community as well.
Okay. Any questions for Debbie?
I have a question. On an electronic sign like that, does the lumen output drop down with ambient light diminish?
So it automatically has a brightness control embedded in the system to where it changes over for nighttime view. The primary, because we deal with so many cities and municipalities, it's already at an ambient light temperature that will not glare, because we don't want to be a distraction at all for any drivers that are going down the road. And by the way, that was a really great question. Everything is driven by software.
Right. Again, technology has come so far.
It's actually very community user friendly too, because if he enables the setting, he literally can do Amber alerts on that as well. So as it broadcasts over, it can enable it to display it into the community as well. So it has a lot of AI technology already embedded in the system. So he's really getting the benefits of where we're at in the marketplace. And like we said, I think Jeff had noted that in the settings, we can make sure that every 15 seconds that the slide remains with that content, and then it changes over to the next. So we're not moving fast images on the board at all, you know, which would be a distraction.
So it is a new pole, so it's all...
The pole is already existing there.
Okay, on
and-
the drawing here, it says new pole.
The bottom half says old and then existing.
Right, existing
and
poles,
then
okay.
Yeah, we're going to be on the existing pole, just a new cabinet. Be one clean look.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Would you like to add?
Good evening. Hey, I'm Dave Hill from Wadsworth Motor Cars. Just want to thank you for your time and your consideration. So we've been in Wadsworth for 32 years now. Been there a long time. Certainly everything we do in business has completely changed, the way we sell cars and the way we market cars. And that sign has been there since the property was brand new. We've changed the boards when we bought it. It was 1 year old when we came to Wadsworth. But it really gives us an opportunity to modernize our curb appeal. And we would also be good stewards of our community as well, with community events. And once again, it just gives us a fresh look. And it's time to do something with that sign now, so this is a good opportunity for us to update the way we present our dealership. So I appreciate your consideration.
All right, any questions for Dave? All right, great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, as there is no other folks in our audience, then I can assume that we don't have anyone else that wishes to speak. We didn't get any letters, so any concluding remarks or comments, Jeff? Or?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward, and we've had a number of variances regarding these EMC signs over the years, so I think it's time to take a look at some of the provisions. We probably won't be able to get rid of every instance where a variance is needed, but I think we can update them so that it benefits a lot more of the potential end users.
I think this will definitely actually freshen up the
Yeah.
property for you as well, too, yeah, believe it or not.
And when we started selling cars in Wadsworth,
Right.
how much things have changed.
Right. Okay, is there any discussion amongst the board? I'll have a motion to close the public hearing, please.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Yeah, again, like I said, I feel this is probably overdue, and it will definitely put a fresh face on a long-standing property owner here in Wadsworth. So if someone could make a motion regarding the case, please.
Make a motion regarding case BZ 25009, LF Sign Company, on behalf of Wadsworth Motor Cars, requesting several variances as noted in staff report. Is that suitable?
Subject to Planning Commission
Subject
approval.
to the Planning Commission's approval.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Hanlon?
Yes.
Mr. Crowley?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Horner, yes. Ms. Narduzzi?
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Good luck. Can't wait to see it. Everything's changing out there so much, so yeah, you gotta keep in line. Okay, is there any other business to be brought before the board?
No, just wanted to let you know, we will have a meeting on July 7th. I know I had tried to get together a special meeting on the 30th, couldn't get a quorum together. We do have one case. However, I know it's right after a holiday, so if anyone's going to be out on vacation, let me know, and by email. And if we don't have a quorum, we'll just have to move that back as well.
I believe one of our members is departing us, so I want to thank Bill Hanlon for serving the time that he has, and we really appreciate your contribution to the zoning board, Bill.
You're welcome.
We'll miss you. Okay, if there is nothing further, if we could have a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.